Senator Norment.
To use an extraordinarily trite and trespassed expression, I had no intention of engaging in a dialogue, but a point of personal privilege, Mr. President.
The senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I appreciate with all earnestness the tutorial from one of the several ladies and gentlemen in this body that has a grasp on the budget, I think better than many of us that would consider ourselves laymen. And I think that the various schedules that the senator from Henrico shared with us are certainly illustrative. They may not be dispositive of the issue or dispositive of the debate, but they certainly, I think, bring home to us in some rather vivid figures exactly where we are. Secondly, and I say this with the best of intentions, I am casually amused at the reference from the senior senator from Fairfax about the attractiveness of the state of California, who puts billions into attracting scientists to come to their colleges and universities. Living in a public college community, believe me, I hear the pain on a daily basis about the underfunding of our extraordinary public colleges and universities. But I'm not confident that I would hold up the state of California as a glowing example of what is financially appropriate and right in the United States of America. If I recall correctly, they are on the verge of bankruptcy. If I recall correctly, they were the first state that were crying out when the first round of the bailout money was being sent to the banks and the financial institutions to send money to California to keep us afloat. If I recall correctly, they are now the state that is crying the loudest about involuntarily furloughs, reducing work weeks, making mandatory unpaid work days. So I don't think that they are the paragon of virtue that the Commonwealth of Virginia wants to emulate. Secondly, many of you have heard me say with some degree of effacement that I was an English history major at an otherwise engineering institution of higher learning. And I say it with absolutely no effacement today. We talk about forecasting, and while we might have a debate on the amount of the revenue shortfall, whether it is the $2.9 billion that the governor seems intent on continuing to embrace, or whether it is the $4 billion that the Senate Majority Leader cares to embrace, that may be a debate for another day. But I am perplexed as a perhaps less informed member of the Senate Finance Committee how our revenue forecast from these institutions that purportedly get glowing reviews in national magazines, how we could be off 0.1% and be $3 billion shortfall on a revenue that has $32 billion in general funds. So perhaps there are other forums and other dates for us to have this debate, but I am thoroughly perplexed by that, and while I might understand how to read and interpret Macbeth and Hamlet, that does perplex me on it. So double bubble, boil in trouble, let's stir that brew, and perhaps the answer will be forthcoming. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator.